viewers. Well, here we are, just continuing from the crew cruising video I did to the summit last week. Unfortunately, it's taken a few days to get this next video completed and get it up on the channel. I've been away, but just getting it up for you now. And essentially going to the summit using a steering wheel. I'm not going to use the biking in this video. I'm going to do that for another video. But just some of the basic challenges. So we've got the monster trucks, which look, I think, visually fantastic. I mean, look at those visuals, looking amazing, really nice visuals. I mean, this section here with the effects, with the lighting running at 60 frames, looks fantastic. And the cockpit cam, as ever, is a fantastic addition. Great to have. You know, it's great to see cockpit cam. You know, I think Need for Speed recently was a real shame it didn't have it in it, because it just adds so much to the driving experience and the cruising experience. But driving along then and getting our coins and you know, our points. And the first thing is we get to is this 1000. Now the idea is you flip back with a controller to get that. You can't do that with a steering wheel. So unfortunately you can't just use the wheel on this challenge. It's been designed for a stick. So you need to change to the controller if you want to maximize this challenge. And that's a bit of a shame, because the driving experience is great with the wheel. You know, it's got a nice feel to it. And it's a nice feeling as we go into the half pipe. Get that 500. That was easier to do with a wheel than it was with a pad. I had more placement of the car, but because I can't see the whole vehicle very well, you know, this is something in VR would be much easier than it is with the triple screens, because you can lean out, get an idea on where your wheels are. And we come up with sort of the next challenge that you'd need to come up with in car here was judgment of distance when jumping. I had none, basically. I was really struggling to, when you can see the car in front of you, you can see how far it's bouncing along. I think here I just didn't know how much speed the car would have, and it just didn't make it because I thought I had enough speed to make the jump. So I found judgment was really difficult in this car. So overall then, you're just going to be better with a stick driving the monster trucks. More fun with a wheel, but ultimately if you want to be competitive and get points, you're going to have to use a stick. You're going to have to be able to flip the car. You're going to have to play from outside car view, because quite frankly you're just in a better place as to what you can have. Now I'm just hitting some different buttons here and getting myself ready and set up for the next part of recording. I just put this together as one video, as I am still away at the moment. I'm in Milan as I record this, trying to get some footage on another new game which we're going to see on the channel, and hopefully you'll see that next week. Then there was the dragster racing. I haven't got on with the dragster racing at all with the wheel, at all, and there's a couple of reasons for that. Firstly, the revving with the wheel. Now I know a lot of you at home may have a very different experience of this, but I have two issues. Firstly, with the pedals, I find the pedals really sensitive. I can't balance the throttle. I can balance the throttle easily. You know, when you think in your road car, if the speed limit is 30 miles an hour, you can pop it on 30 miles an hour and cruise along your road. You don't have any problem revving your car. If it's a powerful car, whatever, you still got a nice control with your foot as to where you want it to be. I can't do it with this. It just keeps going higher and lower and higher and lower, and I can't seem to, as I muck about a bit there as I'm talking, I can't seem to balance the throttle at all. The other issue I was finding, and it just didn't compute with my brain, is when it says go, it automatically shifts you into first gear. So of course I'm shifting to say go. You know, I've just been playing Project Cars or something where you're shifting to go, and suddenly you go to this and I'm in second gear. You know, I'm in third gear or whatever. You know, it's again there, just couldn't get the burn. That was so frustrating. And then realizing, oh, it's already shifted, and of course after that it's no problem, you know, but it's getting that first shift away, and that means you're always at a deficit then. You're just not going to, just not going to beat your opponent. But again, visually very nice. It's a nice addition. I'm not into drag racing per se, but drag racing, the number one thing in drag racing is your start. It's that light changes, you've got your biting point, you shift, bang, you're into gear. You've got that traction, bang, you're into second gear, you hold it as long as you can, bang, into third with a perfect gear change. But that first gear, that first getaway, that's the thing. Forward momentum with grip helps you win, even in a less powerful car. Traction is everything. And I think that's something which I just couldn't get from playing it there. So pedal control, couldn't balance it. Gearing, still not intuitive for me. Easier with a pad, basically. Again, I just found that whole sequence with a pad. I could rev the engine much better to the right point. I could hit that point, and I got my shifts correct and everything. So again, better with a pad in terms of playing that aspect of the Summit. Now on to the next thing, whatever it is, we'll find out. It's a bit of drifting. So going back to the main menu, and that's drifting at night. This was a real challenge. I'm using the hardcore handling. And again, some of you guys may experience a completely different thing. I'm only just showing what I'm experiencing, and whoa, the car spins out. Okay. Now, it just wasn't the car. I'm not even putting much wheel spin in the car. I'm just turning the car in, and it's like the back end has a huge weight in it, and it just spins you out every time. We're not going that fast. There isn't much power. You control the power. It's not always about throwing your wheel around. It's about controlling throttle progression, and the car just. No, I just couldn't get the car. There's also that motion blur that was making me feel a bit ill, basically, when I was driving around. I wasn't feeling great with the motion blur effect. I should also point out the frame rate has dropped from 60 down to 30 on this as well. So we had drop frame rate, we had motion blur that made me feel uncomfortable. You can see it there, and we had handling that really just wasn't working. I just couldn't drive the car, it was just spinning around all over the place. This was a very depressing experience with the wheel. Towards the end of this video, I shift up into 6th gear, and I stay in 6th gear around a couple of corners, and I find a balance to be able to control the car. So I restart again in 6th gear. So we'll come around here. Couple more corners to go, and oh god, it's just not going anywhere. Whatever I do, trying different techniques, not even going that fast. Just trying to drive the car now. I'm just trying to cruise it. Just cruise along without spinning off the track for 2 seconds. And staying in 6th gear there. So I managed a couple of slides on the final corners when I was cruising, and I thought, hang on. It was a bit more balanced just staying in 6th gear. I found that anything below that, the car was just spinning its wheels and spinning in circles. So I thought, let's have a restart and see if we can try again, but just in a much higher gear. Now, I don't know what the other handling settings are like. I'm using the wheel on hardcore settings, and I don't know if the other handling settings will be easier. But I thought, let's just share all of this with you. It's just an uncut video, so you can just see as I work my way on. So now I'm just trying different setting. I'm just nice and slow. I'm not trying to. I'm trying to find a way to control the car. And it still wasn't quite there, was it? What are we in there? 6th gear, 4th gear. We're in there. So I do shift up somewhere. Back into 6th again. It's a slow sort of getaway, but as soon as the car starts to slide, it's just not having it again. So yeah, unsuccessful trying to control the car in drift mode. It just wasn't working for me with a wheel. Play it with the pad, easy. Play it with the wheel on hardcore handling. not working at all. So that's the third of the new modes where I found wasn't really working for me. I'm going to test it with a bike in another video, which we know is great for controller, but I think the one thing is we found is that all the modes work better with the controller for some reason or another. The original map and the standard driving is fantastic in terms of the enjoyment you have with the wheel, in terms of the immersion. But that's it for this video on the crew, and there'll be more crew action no doubt to come from Kevin as well, and other aspects on the channel, more from me very soon.